And welcome back to Mission Reloaded Gaming. My name is Jack, and here we are in Starship EVO with Sid Mocha 7 and Magicar. And today we're going to be talking about the Federation Starfleet. This will be the first video in a series of videos on the Federation. Please enjoy. Take it away, gentlemen.
So the Federation is one of the two major powers in the galaxy before the Great Galactic War. Before the Great Galactic War, the galaxy is split in two. One side, a bunch of smaller warring factions where the Empire comes from, and the other controlled by the Federation. The Federation is comprised of three major sections. The core worlds are the three, essentially, government, and it's the three worlds where the government, the wealthy, and the military is based. And then there's the labor worlds. The labor worlds are where most of the Federation's population is, very densely packed. It's also where most of the labor takes place, most of their ships are built. And this society there is based off like industrial, revolutionary age factory cities. And then there's the outer worlds. The outer worlds are the most numerous. They're less populated, but they have their own cities and such. That's where most of the independent corporations under the protection of the Federation exist, such as GCS shipyards. In those regions, the Federation's job isn't to act like an empire, but it's more of a police force and enforces laws and protects trade. How the war begins in between the Federation and the Empire is the Empire essentially rises above all the other warring factions on the other side of the galaxy and begins taking territory at a large scale, and it takes the Federation completely off guard. So the Federation begins to build up its military, but at the time the Federation doesn't have many ships other than Sunflare classes, frigates, and some destroyers. Pretty unprepared. And the Artemis is substantially bigger and more powerful than practically any ship the Empire has at this time. It has more fighters and more firepower, but I'll get to that when we talk about it. But it catches this Imperial fleet off guard and manages to push them back out of the system. And then from there begins the Great Galactic War. The Federation is a large faction, the second largest faction in this galaxy, and it acts as a policing force for most of that section of the galaxy. It acts as a policing force. It also has three major sections. It has the outer worlds, the labor worlds, and the core worlds. Core worlds are, as you guessed, the main worlds. The outer worlds, which are more free but mostly just policed by the Federation. The Federation gets caught off guard and builds up its military and manages to push back the Imperials from invading, and then the war begins. The Federation ships themselves, they're based off a principle. They're not the strongest. They're not as durable, most of them. They have lots of smaller firing guns, sometimes high-powered guns. They have good point defense, which is like AA, and they always carry fighter support. So even the smallest ships, such as the Sunflare and the St. Queda, carry a fighter support, all the way up to the Artemis, which has, a large fighter support.
I'm noticing something with these is it feels more Old Republic. Like you're basing yourselves a lot on heavy fighter support. A lot of your ships within the fleet are actually smaller, so you can carry more territory. Like you said, a policing agent for a group of worlds.
The Artemis was in part based off of Star Destroyers, and specifically the what's it called? I can't believe I forgot it.
Venator?
Venator, yeah, Venator. Specifically its engines, and partially its shape, but its shape changed multiple times throughout the building of it.
And please join us next time where we break down each ship of the Federation. I'm Jack, fly reckless.